Did you know that there was a possibility that back in the day we were supposed to get a Power Rangers Zeo movie? Yes, folks, this movie was planned for release in 1996, preceding Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. The Zeo movie would have focused on the Gold Ranger Trayforia, and it would have taken place later in the Zeo storyline. However, the project was ultimately canceled. The reasons remain largely undisclosed, though it's likely a combination of shifting franchise priorities, production challenges, or a lack of perceived profitability. This omission left a significant gap in the franchise's continuity, as the Turbo movie never really explained what happened to the Zeo powers or the Zeo Zords, creating a mediocre transition for viewers. The absence of a Zeo film remains a source of both frustration and speculation among fans, who often envision adaptations of the Gold Ranger story arc as a possible lost opportunity. There were so many amazing stories for Power Rangers Zeo that could have been adapted into a movie.
One thing about me is whenever I meet like Power Rangers related content, you'll always be amazed and surprised about new information about movies that should have came out, that was supposed to come out the next year or the year after that, based on a new Sentai series. But when it comes to Zeo, I feel like, to me, there's a reason why this movie never existed in the first place, because of the production values and how much it's not gonna affect the show and the movies going forward. You know what I'm saying? The 95 movie was a classic, even though it's not the best, it's not perfect, but it's iconic for a lot of reasons because it's not canon to the TV show. But with Zeo, I feel like what you can do is make it canon to the series. Because if I would have known that Zeo was gonna get a movie in 96, a lot of us would have been excited as children because we would have loved to see how the old Ranger would have looked on the big screen, and maybe the Gold Ranger would have been crazy, you know what I'm saying? And the movie would have been focused on the Rangers going into the command center, now being called the Power Chamber, to get the new Zeo powers, while Billy steps down as a Ranger to become the new technician in the command center, right? Then after that, they can go on to defeat like monsters or whatever, focus on the new Zeo Fire Rangers. And then after that, you could just bring in the Gold Ranger as a mysterious ranger for an important storyline. Like, the Gold Ranger is one of the most beloved and popular Rangers in the Zeo era, right? And so for me, I would have loved to see what they can do, how they're gonna tackle the Gold Ranger arc in the big screen, you know, how they're gonna introduce Trayforia before Jason comes along. Like, the movie was gonna be basically focused on the Gold Ranger because Gold Ranger is like a legit Sixth Ranger. He's mysterious. He's from his home planet. You know, he knows Zonon and Alpha when he meets the Rangers for the first time, when they have an ally on their side. Up until, they can do like a series after that, focusing on the Gold Ranger losing his powers. And once he does that, you can bring in Jason back as the new Gold Ranger, while the Rangers go search for him, like in a TV show. And then you can pretty much do like a new storyline with Jason as the Gold Ranger, while after the events of the Zeo film. And not only that, but the Zeo costumes would have been somewhat like armor based, but more like Egypt theme, because the Zeo costumes were my second favorite costumes from the old Saban era, because just like the Mighty Morphin ones, the Zeo ones were just as iconic as the originals, in my opinion, because they got this Egypt thing to it. And if you could just have the Rangers go somewhere around Egypt where there's like a new mysterious warrior that contains all of the Zeo powers, and they could just explain to the OG Rangers of how they can retrieve them without making it boring to the point where they have to wait until the third act to become the new Zeo Rangers. While you could just do so much more in the Zeo film, while the Gold Ranger can have an important plot about him defending his planet, then coming to Angel Grove to help the Zeo Rangers, and they could all work together to put a stop to the Machine Empire. And then after that, like I said, you can just focus on the show going forward with the new storyline of him losing his powers, and then you can bring in Jason as the Gold Ranger, and after that, you'll do like a big storyline of the Zeo Rangers finally defeating the Machine Empire once and for all. And not to make the same mistakes like the Turbo movie did, because like you said, the Turbo powers did not make any sense because the Zeo powers were never destroyed in the first place. They were just given a random power up based on cards. And it didn't really make sense, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion on the Turbo film and the TV show, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, a Zeo movie would have been a next step up from the first MMPR 95 movie, and we could have gotten a big Ranger adventure based on the Zeo powers. They became stronger, faster, bolder, and better, and lightning quick because of the Rangers' fighting abilities. And at the end of the day, I would have loved to see a Zeo movie based on the Gold Ranger, because the Gold Ranger, like I said, has been the most popular Ranger of the Zeo bunch because it had an important storyline. And one can only hope that we might end up getting a Gold Ranger, well, a Power Rangers Zeo comic from Boom Studios, because we had one in '96, but it was like a filler episode, like in the TV show. But after that, there were plans on making a third or the second issue after the first one, but got canceled. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on the Gold Ranger having a point in the Zeo movie that we could have gotten in '96, but it never existed thanks to information that we got from the fan club, and I just give you my opinion on what I think we could have gotten besides our Turbo film, in my opinion. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you a Gold Ranger fan? Let me know in the chat.